Well, we might have a few others that'll trickle in here over the next few minutes and such, but I think we're ready to at least get things kicked off and rock and roll with our conversation today.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Coach Andy O'Brien, and I'm here to help facilitate change. So here's what I changed the question a couple of weeks ago. So let's look at it moving forward. So what the first question I ask now is, so tell me, what are your top priorities that have to be completed in the next 2 weeks? What are your top priorities? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's helpful if we play along, but it's okay. and so if you write those down, so what your priorities are, and now I want you to write down next to it, what are the barriers that are going to get in the way from you being able to accomplish those priorities? And remember, those of you who haven't been here before, if you look away, you become a victim. Tom, that's right. Look straight ahead. Awesome. And just so you know, I'm out here with a gentleman fixing my windshield, so I might have to get off and Tanner might have to jump in, or there might be an interruption, but we call that life, as you all know. So who would like to share first? What is going to be their barriers to get their priorities done in the next 2 weeks?
I'll just jump in just to kick it off and say that one of the top priorities for me is onboarding a new team member in the next 2 weeks.
All right, excellent.
Barriers: implementing enough time within, especially that first week, to go through all onboarding, preparing for training, and making sure that that's outlined appropriately.
Excellent, thank you. All right, who else wants to go? Remember, good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I needed a change of environment, so I'm sitting outside.
Nice, nice. Okay, so the question is what are your priorities over the next 2 weeks, and what's the barriers that are going to get in the way? So let's move down here to Jess.
I hope y'all can't hear my dogs. They're freaking out right now. My priorities are health related right now, unfortunately. So I kind of put that on the back burner a lot. And I told Tanner when we met, I have a life coach. So we talked about this yesterday, which is kind of funny that we're talking about it today. I tend to put my health and everything for me on the back burner because I have work, I have 4 kids, I have a family, all of that stuff comes first. So I'm really trying to recalibrate and put that first because I need to be available for everybody else. So right now it's health. And right now my barrier to that is time, making time for the doctor's appointments, making time for the exercise and the healthy habits. So that's kind of what my priority is right now.
Okay, well, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. I appreciate that. Stephanie, for you.
Mine is sort of similar to Jess. I need to focus on a couple of personal items, and my motivation right now, or my lack of motivation right now, is a barrier. And it's weird because I was telling one of my friends the other day, I grew up always being a very self-motivated person. And just as, a kid, I was really self-motivated. And then somewhere like after law school, like I just kind of was like, yeah, not so motivated anymore. And I'm not really sure how to get that back. So.
Oh, thank you so much. So you need to get your mojo momentum back.
Just a little, yeah. I think maybe it's age, just kind of getting to that point where I'm like, it's good enough, or that's not that important. I'll get to it later.
Okay, I love that. All right, I love that. All right, so Sarah, what are yours? And we have a couple of questions to you for follow-up from last week to see if you can help everybody else on this call. So Sarah, any changes from last week, and what are your barriers moving forward?
So you want me to start with the follow-up from last week?
If you'd like to share with everybody, please. I think it would give perspective to Stephanie and Jess with what they're going through right now.
For sure. I don't know you guys. What's your business, Stephanie and Jess? I heard law school, Stephanie. I'm guessing you're a lawyer.
Yes, I'm an estate planning and probate attorney.
Awesome. And Jess?
I am an insurance agent.
Oh, very cool. Okay. I own a marketing firm. So when I'm up in Wisconsin, I met these guys through Action Coach and their national conferences. So that's kind of how I got roped into this rodeo. You kept it in your mouth, Andy. I'm proud.
I did. It's actually this with Tom here. We call it a circus.
Oh, there you go. No, so last week I don't even remember how we got on it. I think nobody else really presented a major challenge. So I just mentioned that mine, similar to the lifestyle stuff, is I don't get up early enough. I have 2 little kids, 3 and 5, and I just cannot find enough time in a day. I've read all the things that say, get up at 4 a.m., 4:30, work out, do the things. I'm like, sounds great. I like sleep. So last time we talked about some ways to make changes, and honest to God, 11 years now. I've been an entrepreneur running my own marketing firm, and pre-kids, during kids that aren't babies anymore. It's just, I cannot figure out how to get up earlier. And I've tried this a dozen times and failed every time. And so what was interesting is it's starting to work. What I learned during the last week is, Andy and I were talking about giving yourself grace, and I'm still struggling to understand the difference between allowing yourself to make excuses and giving yourself some grace. But the end result was I realized every time I've tried to do this, I do it all at once. I say, okay, cool. I'm going to commit. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to get up super early. I'm going to do all the things. And then like 3 days into it, I'm like, excuse me, but I'm like, fuck this. And I quit. This time I didn't do that. This time I'm like, nope, I'm just going to work on getting to bed earlier. That's it. I mean, I'm still trying to get up at a reasonable time and all those things. I mean, I'd like to get up at 5, but I'm getting up at like 7, but it's not as early as I'd like, but the getting to bed earlier has been helping. And the side effect of that is I do get up a little earlier because I'm not as tired. So it's working indirectly when I'm not trying to force everything so hard.
Excellent. Congratulations. I know Tom was on that call. Tom, well done. Well done, Sarah. And okay, so let's talk about that for a second. And we talked about it. Okay, I'm not a mom, I'm a dad. I'm wired differently. Some of you may recognize Tanner is my son. He gets all of his brains from his mother. I'll give her all the credit. But one of the interesting things that Sarah just said there is, and do you guys fall into that trap of just trying to do it all at the same time? So you just try to grab everything and just, okay, if this works in my schedule, then this will work, and yada, yada, yada. And so one of the conversations is I know we normally as coaches work with the end in mind, but you got to start looking at the root cause and the first step, right? So for Sarah, it was like, you got to just stop worrying about getting out of bed. Okay, let's skip all that shit. Let's worry about, and she did very well. And I'm so happy for you that you actually gave yourself some grace. So again, I know it's just a different terminology and a mindset. Grace is giving yourself the freedom to be forgiven. It's giving yourself instead of you moms are so good at kicking yourselves all the time because everything's not perfect. I mean, I'm just like, dang, I'm surprised the kids, Jody ever left the kids alone with me. We never got anything done, but we had some fun, right? I got a workout in, the kids didn't die. They didn't get their fingers caught in the chain. Life was good. But so I always call the difference between grace and excuses is grace is learning a new way. Grace is giving yourself the ability to change. Excuses are you've been doing this and you just don't give a shit. Oh, and we speak very freely on this call. So if there's any little kids in the background, Sarah already took the ice off. So we're sorry, okay? So I would challenge, when you talk about, have you ever read the book Stephanie Mojo by, it's Mojo, Lost It, Found It, and gonna find it again. I can't remember exactly the name. It's on my bookshelf. I'm not at my office right now, but it's written by Marshall Goldsmith, and it's about finding your mojo. And he talks about in that book, and it's as simple as that. You have to do something differently, motivation, all of these things, they're just like a shower. We have to have them every day and discipline, but every once in a while we all get burned out, right? It's just like, I mean, I run through those cycles. I mean, Tanner can tell you, a year ago at this time, I was super fit, ready to race an Ironman. And I just lost it. I'm like, okay, I'm just tired of this stuff. They've closed everything. I'm just going to quit. It's more fun to go eat cheeseburgers, drink beer, and hang out, right? So now I have a new shape. It's round. It is considered a shape, everybody. But again, for me and everybody else, it's doing one thing, whether it's having mojo or mojo momentum, or you got to put yourself not in the right framework. You just have to put yourself in a different position, right? So how many of you guys have routines? How many of you kind of like, I live by routine, even scatterbrain. I have to have a routine. And sometimes you just need to change one part of it. So Jess, to you, it's like, okay, health. I will sit here as a business coach, and I will tell you every business person that I've ever worked with in the history of the world, if they don't take care of themselves, there's no point, because nothing else gets done. Family, faith, dogs, and then work, because it's a trickle effect. And then the most important thing there is who? It's you guys, right? It's always you. So I challenge all of you to do one thing different. And oh, by the way, there's this one thing different, and Sarah's probably going to give me the number one sign, but sometimes you have to do something for yourself. And I know you guys, it's like, well, I have kids, I have this, I have that. I said, I get it. But Stephanie, when's the last time you went and did something just for you that did nothing for anybody else? That's my answer right there.
It's my birthday on Sunday, so I told my husband he has to celebrate me and only me on Sunday.
Okay, that he's going to celebrate you, but you missed the question.
Get it, girl.
Yeah, that's right, man. Foot massage, breakfast in bed, whatever it takes, right?
Exactly.
Your husband
Can
gets
I add
up.
something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So something I learned for me, it's the little things. It's as stupid as just taking a just crazy long shower, because nobody's bothering me. I'm totally trapped. Nobody can get to me most of the time. Sometimes they still find a way in and they come bother me, but most of the time. But like, I don't know, I'm just a water person. So that's another way that I'm like, okay, I did something for me. I feel a little calmer now. It's crazy, especially when I feel like really wired from kids and things are just nuts. It's just a temporary escape. Or even like now, I said, screw the office, and I came down here because I need some fresh air. Even that is little ways that I'm trying to do things for myself. So it can be the big stuff, but I'll bet you if you think about it, you guys have done something small for yourselves in the last couple of weeks.
I totally agree, Sarah.
Go ahead,
because as
Jess.
moms, my kids are still playing soccer through the summer, which is nuts in Texas because it's hotter than hell down here. And I'll drop them off, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get a coffee. I'm going to go to run to Target and just do something for me, right? Like just do something small. And those things mean so much. Like that can just turn your whole day around as a mom, like just a coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of
taking
Starbucks,
your time. Or
yeah,
taking your time through the like $3 aisle at Target and looking at whatever you want without anybody throwing anything at you. I'm sorry, you guys, we're going off the deep end on mom stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Tom.
Good morning.
Are you there?
Sorry,
Tom,
I've drifted off.
maybe you guys can give Tanner tips. I'm in the grandpa stage, okay? So he can learn. But go ahead. But the $3 aisle, I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, just the little things. We were on a family vacation at the beach. We just got back a few days ago. And I wake up early, unlike Sarah. My wife does not wake up early. If I wake her up, it's a bad day. Like she needs to sleep. She's like you, Sarah. So I don't dare wake her up, but I'll get up early at like 6:30, and I'll go watch the sunrise at the beach, which is just down the street from our condo. And that's my time. You know, I feel closer to God there. I'm happy there. It's my 20 minutes of no one's talking to me. It's just me. And it's huge. It's huge. Any little thing like that is huge. So even if you're on a family vacation, we have a ton of kids. I always tell people there's always one we want to give away on any given day. But we also have a special needs child. So there's a lot going on there too. So it's just, you know, those little things mean a lot.
And that's my point to all of it. I mean, I've known Tom for a long time. I've met Sarah. We're going on 2 years now. You know, Tanner's one of those that doesn't take a lot of time because he's driven to work. You know, you guys are all selfless, but when I say something about do something for you, it is that continually. I mean, I don't care if it's get away. Like you said, you get up in the morning. You know, I do that same thing. You know, I'll get up, I'll go sit out on the back porch, make coffee. And my wife is one of those that has the rule. You guys don't know me that well, but she's the one that you don't speak to before her first cup of coffee. Okay, straight up, don't talk to her. Tanner's that way too, by the way. He puts on a brave face, but when we'd sit down at the table when the kids were little, Bailey and I'd sit there over there jabbering like a monkey in the tree, and Tanner and Jody are over there just don't talk to me. So, but when I say do something for you, I really do mean that. It's got to be something consistent. We talked about this at 90 Day Planning on Thursday. So tell me this, Tom, Sarah, Stephanie, Jess, tell me when the last time you celebrated a win in your business, and specifically, what did you do for the win? And I don't care what the win is, you determine the win, but what did you do? Tom.
I got crickets. I don't know that I celebrate much.
All right, all right, Stephanie. All right, I'm going to step away. Tanner, take over.
So the last time I did, I celebrated a win and I just, we went to dinner. That was it. It was good.
That's still great. That's not little. That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Jess, how about you?
So I landed kind of a big client for me. And it's funny because we're in the midst of shuttling kids around and I was like, I want to do something special. So I made cabbage rolls. So that's weird for y'all, for me to say that, but it is something special for me. My grandfather is Syrian, from Syria. So I make a lot of those foods and I don't do it very often because they're labor intensive. But that was a thing for me to kind of celebrate. And I love those foods. So I made cabbage rolls and we sat down as a family and actually had dinner together after soccer. And it was great. So that's how we celebrated.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Sarah, how about you? What was the last win that you had in business and how did you celebrate?
So I have to say, Jess, my grandmother was from Ukraine, and so she would make cabbage rolls too. And the amount of time that goes into them is just stupid. So I think it's a culmination of things. I go in spurts where I don't celebrate so much, and then I finally do for like a couple of things. So my divorce stuff was finally over, so I got some freedom from that. I have had more business falling in my lap in the last month than I actually can handle. And I found a project manager. I finally hired somebody who, to put it lightly, like I deserve. I keep hiring people that the mindset shift that I want to help instead of them helping me. So that was a big thing too. So that was a win, hiring somebody like that, and a win because it got me the help I needed. So I bought a Michael Kors purse. I've never bought myself a nice purse. And I finally said, fuck this, I'm getting a real purse. I'm getting a grown-up purse because I'm done with diaper bags, and I got a pretty purse.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
What about you, Tanner?
Oh, I honestly, I think we're about to celebrate. You know, we ended with probably the best quarter we've ever had. That's a big win for us. And so now it's determining what it is we're going to celebrate or how we're going to celebrate. And honestly, I don't have that defined yet. But realizing and recognizing that it is time to celebrate a win is big. So I want to ask the four of you on the call, why do you think it is that it's so important to celebrate these wins?
I think just taking the time to appreciate yourself and appreciate what, has been done is really important. I think for a lot of people, when they're feeling underrated, bad stuff starts to happen, or at least in my family, that's how it goes.
So keep going on that. I think that's a critical driver. Go say that one more. Say it. Take it one step further than that. So you said what I thought I heard you said, and I apologize. The gentleman was leaving with the window. Is that you start getting bad things and then it just keeps happening? Is that what I heard you say, or did I miss something there? Tom's telling me I totally hosed it up. All right, I apologize. I'm sorry.
No, I meant that just when people in my family don't feel appreciated, bad things start to happen in terms of like the dynamics of interpersonal relationships.
Got it.
Really powerful observation.
Mhm.
It is.
I think that celebrating those wins, whether they're big or small, is moving you forward to your goal. So it's checking a box. I'm a list maker. I make lists all the time. And if I don't, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. So I'm one of those people that feels very rewarded by checking things off and then celebrating that those things are done. And that moves me further towards my goal. So when I'm working backwards from my goal, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do this week? Let's make sure we get this done. And even if it's, not happening in the order I want it to, or as fast as I want it to, when it does happen, celebrating that is enabling me to move forward from that and do better things.
Excellent. Tom, what are your thoughts? Why do you think it's important to celebrate?
Well, yeah, I think you're putting, I don't celebrate it's odd. My perspective is when something goes right, I did my job. And so I did my job. That's nothing to celebrate. And yeah, anyway, so it's just, I'm just listening, really. I have a group every Wednesday and they pointed out the same thing. So I got to figure that out. But my reward is maybe once a year when I go up to Wisconsin and fish for a week or two. But to me, that's getting away, but it's a heck of a reward. But
Back here, right?
right, yeah. Is that the Fox River or where are you?
Yeah, I'm right on the edge of Winnebago. So this is just coming off of Winnebago. I don't want to get in the way. I'm not a coach. I just have questions, and I've been doing this too long with you guys. So I ask similar questions, but I'm not trying to get in the way. But
Please.
I gotta understand, Tom, what would be different if you did celebrate?
I don't know what you mean.
So you're saying you don't really celebrate right now. So you know where you're at now. Where would you be if you did celebrate? How would your life be different if you celebrated? What would change?
I have no idea. Maybe this is because I'm just tired or something, but I have no concept, I guess.
All right. I want to ask another follow-up question to everybody in the group. Why is it we don't celebrate?
I can give you a laundry list. Stephanie,
for you?
I think most of the time I do feel like Tom in a lot of the sense that I feel like if something went right, oh, that's just how it's supposed to be. I did my job. Like, that's not something to celebrate. That's just normal. But I think I've learned that if I don't take the time also to sometimes to celebrate small things, but just to really appreciate. I think for me, it's really about appreciation, to show appreciation. I start to take things for granted. And my husband, I think ever since I got married, because he's someone who's like, you don't appreciate me and you don't show appreciation about me. And he constantly needs verbal or some kind of affirmation that he's doing a good job. And So I'm like, yeah, like when this first started happening, I was like, Tim was like, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You don't get a pat on the back for doing what you're supposed to do. But that is not, again, the interpersonal relationships, they just go to hell if I don't show the appreciation. And this is what he needs. So I think that's also taught me that, like, yeah, I take a lot of the things that I do for granted, and it should be appreciated because it you know, it adds a level of value to how I see things and to what I'm doing, and that's important. So I'll give props to my husband for making me appreciate him more.
All right, so Jess, for you.
I think a lot of times in business and as a mom, you always feel like, did I do enough? Did I do it right? Could I have done it better? So you don't want to give yourself that celebration, because what if if I would have changed one thing, it would have been so much better. Or did I really do enough to get where I need to be this week? The doubt, I guess, is what comes in when you don't want to celebrate, is just doubt on several different fronts.
So, because I think
hang on, Tanner. Why don't we celebrate for you? What would you say would be, why don't we celebrate?
For me?
Yeah.
Actually, this goes to exactly what I was going to say, and why I think this quarter we're much better at celebrating. And it's sometimes we haven't defined what success looks like, or kind of to Jess's point, maybe we haven't set big enough goals. And being able to know that ahead of time, so that when you do reach those achievements, it is something to celebrate, instead of feeling like, did I just do what was supposed to be done? Did I hit the minimum standard, or did I go after our stretch? And being able to define what success looks like. Maybe that's a big overall, what does success look like at the end of the quarter? Maybe that's, what does success look like in this particular task or portion of the goal? But having that defined makes it, I think, easier to celebrate. But oftentimes we forget to define what that success looks like.
Yes. And okay, so Stephanie, this is going to be an argumentative conversation. Your husband's wrong. You should celebrate. Just because you did your job doesn't mean you shouldn't celebrate it. Okay. It's so funny. Think about belief systems for a second. The reason we're talking about this is that one of the hardest things in society today is just what Stephanie said. And all y'all, I'll reiterate it. Well, I'm just doing my job. I'm supposed to do my job. This is how it's supposed to be. I don't celebrate that. That was the belief system from 1970s white guys who set it up as just do as I say, not as I do. I lived in that era. My grandfather was so funny, loved him to death. I used to always laugh. He'd be like, if I tell you to pick up sticks, that's the conversation. We're picking up sticks. And I always laughed at that. My dad was kind of like that. I told you, do as I say, not as I do. The belief systems that were built into culture for us is that we're always focused on, what did you do wrong? How did you do it wrong? What are you not good enough at? Would you guys agree that we're always looking at, and all of us on this call, how many times if I said, so tell me all the things you didn't get done this week, how big would that list be? If I asked you to specifically write out all the things you got done this week, Jess would look at her list. It's all checked off, right? But truly, what did it say? Because we get something done, we move to the next thing. So when we talk about celebrating the wins, and I love Sarah, you just put that into disc because you've been with us long enough, but part of our belief system needs to be built around, we are good enough, we are smart enough, we are strong enough, and we are capable to celebrate, whether it's go get a cup of coffee, go get a massage, celebrate your birthday, not be worried about what everybody else wants from us. That's when I talk about wins. I talk about wins for business owners like yourself, for you. Uh-oh, Sarah, here it comes. Go ahead.
No, it's a good thing. When you said massage, it made me think about it. Sometimes I don't realize what's changed. It's hard for me to see the improvements that I've made. And back to the mom stuff and time for yourself and all that. It's funny. I have a client that they're an acupuncture company. They're an acupuncture clinic, and they do really well. And I do marketing coaching with them. And so my insurance sucks. that won't cover acupuncture. And so I talked to them, and so we barter that. And so that forced me to say, okay, well, I'm not going to waste this opportunity. So I'm going to schedule the time to go in every single week. It has changed my ability to focus on my business more clearly so much because I'm taking that time out, which everybody says that, you hear that, it never really sunk in, but now literally I'm realizing it as it's falling out of my mouth that that's a change that's happened. Like I've gotten more clarity and I've gotten more focus and I'm more effective in what I do as a mom, as a business owner, all these things, because I'm taking that time out and because I've scheduled it in advance, it kind of forces me to do it.
And that's exactly it. So that was going to be my question. So do you guys, I mean, when you look at that, so I'm going to ask you right now, I know the holidays this weekend. So next Friday, here is the challenge for all of you. If you can make it back to the call, great. If not, but here's a challenge for all of you. Next Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, how are you specifically going to celebrate all of your wins for the week? Stephanie's like, that doesn't fit my schedule right now. That is not on the plan right now. Look at her. She's like, you can shut up anytime.
We're supposed to go to San Francisco to see my in-laws and my husband's grandmother who's not doing very well.
So sorry.
Yeah, so my next weekend is mainly probably going to be trying to get just some time to myself.
They have beaches there, right?
I was going to say, could you schedule something?
Not good. Yeah.
Could you schedule something? Just go get a massage or get out for an hour and say, I just need an hour to myself and plan it in advance. Or even if you're in the airport, assuming you're flying, go get one of those things where you stick your feet in the water and the fish chew on your toes or something. I think those are so weird.
Yeah, but again, so, all right, so maybe it's not going to be Saturday, but the point of the exercise is this. What are you going to do for yourself? Like, I already know I haven't taken time away from this business in about 18 months because of all the stuff, my mom, all this stuff. I've taken time away from work to deal with other stuff, but I know next week is the true, and Tanner is going to hold me to this, is truly a vacation. I know I have to be on 2 business calls next week. Why? Because one is Brad Sugars. And he's the founder of our company. I'm not going to miss that call. And the second one is one that I planned with the onboarding of a brand new client, executive coaching client, that it's doctors, and I had to just schedule it. So I know that. But next week, at Friday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be somewhere in our motorhome here with a cocktail, and I'm going to disconnect. My challenge to all of you is every week, every day, every time that you do something well, it doesn't have to be huge. It needs to be something small. We as society need to start celebrating all the wonderful things we do, all the time. I'm sure for Tanner and Kari is that, like somebody said on this call, is not to give their children away on any given day, right? Like, child for sale, go to grandma's, but what is it going to be? And that's what I'm looking for you to document. You don't have to tell us here, but write down something that is important to you that you are going to do for something in your business. And yes, Stephanie, even if it is just doing your job and you get everything done, because all of us know that this week before you leave, is you're going to do twice as much and get twice as much done because you're not going to want to deal with it on the weekend. So please celebrate.
The second important piece is once you get through putting this onto your calendar of when you're going to celebrate, it's being able to replicate that every week. So tying this back to some of the things that were said at the very beginning of the call, I actually had a coach challenge me on a bunch of the same things. What am I doing to separate and say, nope, I'm working 40 hours a week. The rest of it needs to be devoted to personal time, to family, to what are the other priorities? And the challenge was list out all of the priorities that you've got in your life, or list out everything that needs to be on your calendar, from time for personal, for exercise, for time with the kids, times with just my spouse, and actually put it out there, prioritize it, and then start putting time next to it. How much time do you need to put per week, per day for each of those? So I literally just erased it, but it was all listed out here on my whiteboard, so that I could actually start scheduling that. So I know Saturdays at noon, kids are taking quiet time or nap time, that's a time when I can go do something that's a little bit more personal. And that is on the calendar, continuing to move forward. So I'm always remembering to take that time. There's time blocked off for when we're doing dinner as a family, like that is on the calendar. Those types of things need to be on there, just as important as going through and setting that up for business or for work and such as well. So to take what Andy said to that next step is, once you've got that identified, what are you going to start doing at the end of each week to celebrate? Make sure you've got that plugged into that routine, that schedule moving forward, so that you continue to develop that habit and making time for yourself and celebrating.
Love it. Because he just said something there I hope you all caught: consistency. One of the things about celebrating is that we are really consistent about doing all this, looking at all the stuff we didn't get done. And I have something written on my board at home. It's and if you guys recall, it says movement times momentum times consistency equals manifestation. And I've said that the last couple of weeks, because it is truly, when you start doing different things in your business, that manifestation starts bringing you all of those good things into your world. But the part that a lot of people miss is that consistency of, I just need to check myself, right? I need to check Andy. I need to check Andy, what he's doing. I need to check, make sure I'm living above the point. I'm doing all the right things. I'm celebrating the wins.
Movement times what times consistency?
Movement times momentum
Oh,
times consistency equals manifestation.
I like
Awesome.
what you said, Sarah, about planning something. Like, we plan trips, and travel is like our big reward. And my family likes to travel a lot. So I joke with people, I work to travel. But my wife and I will plan trips also just with our friends without the kids, at least once a year, so that we have that time with our friends. And that's really important too. I think that the kids really enjoy.
In a few weeks?
I'm sorry?
You want to go to Nashville in a few weeks? End of July,
I go to
a bunch of us are
Knoxville
going to
pretty
Nashville.
often.
Nice.
Yeah, those flights are not expensive to Tennessee from Texas. But yeah, I plan trips to visit friends and do beach time with the kids. For us, our family time's usually at the beach. So yeah, I always have a trip planned and look forward to that and work towards that. So I know that when I get there, that's my time and I unplug. And we went to Jamaica a few months ago, and I took my laptop, but I never took it out. So
it's awesome. Jamaica's my favorite. Well, that's why I wrote that down. I mean, I've realized that's a big thing too, is like, even if I'm like, oh, I don't have the money, I probably shouldn't do it, I book it because it forces me to make the money. So it helps keep creating that momentum and that motivation and that inspiration to keep going. So it keeps dangling that carrot in front of myself. There's a YouTube video out there of Matthew McConaughey when he had an acceptance speech. I don't know what award he won, some video award, but the point was, he was talking about, the one I'm talking about, Jess. He talks about chasing himself 10 years from now. So he's not looking up to other people or whatever. He's always working towards being that person in 10 years. And that hit me. I was like, oh my God, who do I want to be in 10 years? I never really thought about it.
Cool. All right. Any finishing up thoughts today? Learnings from today?
Dangle the carrot.
Love it. Stephanie, for you?
I'm definitely a carrot person, so I'm going to be dangling that carrot. And I think I also need like people to keep me accountable to this. So I'll probably reach out to some of my friends and ask them to keep me accountable to putting this on my calendar and then following up on that.
Well, and we will be happy. This group will be happy to help you be accountable if you come back again.
Thank Thank you.
Friends are terrible accountability buddies because
Yeah.
they're too nice. Nothing inside them cares enough.
Oh, my friends aren't that nice.
I don't mean they literally don't care. No, okay. I would say I don't mean literally they don't care, but
So what you're saying, Stephanie, is we need to get you a new group of friends that care.
My friends,
Awesome.
my friends are honest. It's good. It's good.
That's perfect. I love those friends. Tom, for you today, my friend.
I think I'll just chew on the idea of celebrating a win. I mean, I get it in sports. I don't, the concept in whatever, it's, yeah. We're going to see if we can find some fertile soil and make that make sense.
Love it. Love it. Miss Jess, for you.
I think having accountability partners is important and identifying what your carrot is. Like for me, it's travel and being able to do those things. So pick something that's meaningful and that will make you work hard.
Love it. Love it. All right. Thank you so much, Tanner. You want to finish this up?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you all for making the call today. It's always exciting when we continue to get some faces and some new faces coming on the call and such as well. So Jess, thank you for coming on today as your inaugural one to join in. But this experience is really meant to continue to build this community and share and exchange ideas just like this. If you know anyone else that would benefit from joining in and having this discussion, please share the information with them. The more the merrier on this. We do not use this as a tool for us to sell any products or services, anything like that. We truly just want to bring this community together. We know that business ownership can be sometimes a lonely road. So having some others that can share and exchange similar ideas can be very powerful. So feel free to share this with anyone. If you have any questions, always reach out. I'm here to answer anything I can, and just thank you all for making the time this morning.